Okay. And this is, of course, you all probably know Power of the Pen book group.
No,
And
I don't.
you don't know? Well, it's the Power
I
of the
just
Pen book group. Welcome.
thank you. This is my
Welcome.
second one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Nice to see you, Fonda.
Thanks, Jane. It's nice to be seen.
we
I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we meet every month, the third Thursday of the month, going through this book. And
Do you recommend me getting it online?
yeah,
Of course.
you can go to the AHOF website.
Okay.
There's a page that's on for the Power of the Pen Book Club. You don't even have to be a member of the AHOF to find that page. It's on the
Oh,
and there
oh,
you can. There's a link to where you can purchase the book if you like. And yeah,
okay.
because we take each of the. It's an anthology. Doesn't mind matter. It doesn't hurt to review that. This is an anthology, and every month we try to have a different uh, a different article or essay, and the author of that article discuss about their essay or surrounding the topic. It's
Okay.
kind of wide open, like a general book club, kind of whatever we want to talk about on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So today is I've actually been looking forward to this for a long time. It's that Dr. Cynthia Crosson,
Crosson, yes.
yeah, her
Congratulations. You're one of the few people that pronounce
oh,
it correctly.
Crosson, did I say it right?
Crosson, yes.
That's good. Her her essay article on about pens and pups. And I find it really fascinating using graphology in the placement of service dogs with veterans. So I imagined, I mean, when I saw the title Pens and Pups, I imagined um, that somehow she got a dog to write. And it was
It had to be a
analyzing
veteran dog,
the
though.
handwriting. But if you read the article, it's not exactly that. So I'll let Cynthia Crosson, who is, by the way, let me just, for those of you who are not aware, um, she has a very strong background in caring in the helping and caring field, in teaching, in the clinical social work, in pastoral care. If I'm not, am I saying
Ministry. I'm a minister now,
ministry?
yes.
Yes. Um, all of the credentials in each of those areas. So this is not, just someone who picked up a book and decided to start helping veterans. Okay, that's great. Go
Okay.
ahead, Cynthia.
Yes, I can tell you a little bit how I got into that. I have, as you say, a varied background. I have a doctorate in psychology and a master's in social work. And I was, throughout my career, my specialization was trauma, but it was mostly childhood trauma. Child abuse is my specialty. And how I got into working with veterans, I think it's in the book. I decided to change careers, and I went into ministry after teaching for many years at the college level, psychology, behavioral sciences. And I was fascinated by dogs for ministry. And so I applied for one at a local agency and got one. And it happened to be at the time that my son died. My son was in the military and came back with very severe post-traumatic stress disorder, which we'll talk about, and took his own life. And it was around that time, and this little dog literally saved my life. I mean, he gave me a purpose. He gave me a reason to go on, you know, to get very dramatic about it, but it's true. And because I knew about PTSD, the agency needs, NEADS, which you'll see in a minute, said, could you develop a program for us on PTSD in veterans? So I quickly went back to study about veterans and took everything and did everything I could. And it's been a fascinating career, and I've really enjoyed it. But to talk today, I actually did a presentation. I know some of you remember, some of you may be newer, but some of you may remember we had an AHAF conference in California in 2013, I believe. And as I was preparing for this, I went back and was looking at my notes, and I thought, aha, I have a PowerPoint from that, and I can update it, and because it really tells a lot of where I'm going with this. So I'm going to ask you to, well, first of all, let me ask you, do you have any questions about my background or anything I've said so far?
You had your, hi Cynthia, it's Judy.
Hi, Judy.
You had your own psychotherapy practice also,
I
right?
did,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And I kind of gave it up. When I went into the ministry, I discovered there's a lot of counseling in ministry, so I couldn't do both. So I kind of gave that up, but I had that for many years. Yes. So let me ask, go, any other questions? Victor, did you, somebody else have it? Okay. Let me ask Victor if you could share the first slide.
Okay.
Please.
Let me place that up.
The talk that I gave was Healing with a Cold Nose, assessing the writing of veterans. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
The agency where I got my service dog for ministry. Can you do the next slide?
It didn't move. Hold on just a second.
Oh, great. I love technology.
Yeah, really.
I'm not good at it. That's why you're doing this. Okay. Whoops.
Well, evidently I'm not that much good. Okay. Let me
The agency that
I'm going to start over with
I'll talk and you can see if you can get that. The agency where I got my service dog from which I got my service dog, it's called NEADS. Now, it doesn't stand for anything anymore. It used to, but it doesn't, just NEADS. And that slide talks about its offerings. And what they do is they place dogs with not only veterans with disabilities, but also other people with disabilities. They also have a program for children with autism, because that can be very helpful for children with autism. We have the slide or not?
I think I got it. I just restarted the whole thing.
Oh, well, that's okay. We're on to the next one, but that's right. So most of the, there we go.
I can start it from the
next one down.
Yeah.
Next slide. Okay. So this is what NEADS does. Adults with disability, hearing impaired, veterans, therapeutic dogs like ministry and classroom and therapy. How do those dogs help? Well, they go with the handler. For example, my ministry dog goes with me to services and to nursing homes and hospitals, et cetera. And he's a wonderful, I have another one. And he breaks the ice, and it's a wonderful experience. But next slide. The dogs that NEADS works with are trained in prisons. And obviously I didn't get the click and add text out of there. This is a picture of one of the prisons. Oops. We find that training dogs in prisons is fantastic because the prisoners have undivided time. Plus the fact they feel like they're kind of giving back to society. And dogs love structure. And so being in a prison setting, dogs love it. They really blossom. And some of the best dogs
There you
are
go,
trained.
Victor. I'm sorry. Victor, you're right. Go to the upper left.
Okay.
Upper left, second one in. Go down a little bit.
Yeah,
under insert. Oh.
Okay.
No, you missed it.
I'm glad it's not just
It's
me.
not just you.
Go to where it says
I-
slideshow, right
I
there.
see
Click,
close.
click.
I see
Okay,
slideshow. Okay.
now go over to the
Play
one,
from
not from there, go
no
that one. No,
center view.
you
Okay.
missed it.
From
Go back.
Karen
There you go.
side.
Click.
That's it. That's the one.
Right there.
Ah.
Aha.
That's it.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful. Okay. So the dogs are trained in prison. Any questions about that, or?
Are they any particular breed?
The breed that actually is best for service work is Labrador Retrievers. Sometimes Goldens are used, but they're a little too sensitive. Labs are not. It's interesting you should bring that up because you may have seen dogs in public that are various breeds. I have a little bit of a bias. Some people try to get dogs from shelters and train their own dogs and that kind of thing. It really does not work that well. And there's a lot of using dogs like pit bulls are not as much as they're a delightful breed, but they're not service dogs. And I've seen a lot of self-trained dogs lately to pit bulls, and I'm thinking, oh, come on. The reason why labs are used is their temperament is very sweet. They're docile. They can take commands. Service dogs are different from guide dogs. Guide dogs are the people or dogs you see guiding the blind or hearing sight impaired. Guide dogs have to be very assertive. They have to make decisions on their own, like, am I going to cross the street if there's a car coming, despite the fact that my person told me to cross? They're not. Service dogs, you tell them cross and there's this car coming, and fortunately you'll be able to see it because the service dog would just trot on because they do service. They mind you and they do what you want them to do. So anyway, next slide, please.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Actually, I think that's two. No, that's right. The program that I designed this under used to be called Canines for Combat Veterans. Unfortunately, now it's called Services for Veterans, and it's gotten watered down. I'll talk about that later. But what happened was needs in 2006 were invited by Walter Reed Army Medical Center to train dogs for the veterans that were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan with a lot of injuries in a variety of ways. There used to be more casualties in war than there are now because we have better medical, whatever. And so now what we have is a lot of injuries, both physical and emotional. Anyway, they asked me because they knew I had a background in PTSD. They said, could you develop a dog? Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back for a minute. So they were invited by Walter Reed, and they started placing dogs that could help with physical things like they actually had a harness for a while, and the dogs could be balanced dogs, or the dogs would turn on a light, or they would open a door. Things a lot of guys had issues. And it was initially, you'll hear me say he a lot because it was initially men that came forward. And we can talk about that later because women process things differently. But actually, there were a lot of women getting physical dogs. So this gentleman in the picture is the first placement that we had. And you'll see he has, I think he may have one leg, I'm not sure. But what needs discovered was that a high percentage of these veterans had post-traumatic stress disorder. And that was almost more problematic to them than were their physical injuries. So they came to me knowing I had a background in PTSD and said, could you develop a program? I had gotten on the board of directors by this time. Could you develop a program for us for these men, mostly men, who have PTSD? And I thought, ugh. I don't know how many of you read my book. I wrote a book called You Cannot Cage the Wolf, and it's about how my son's death informed my developing this program. And in that book, I have a passage that I love because, and I'll sort of share it with you as a teaser here. I went to a board meeting at Needs and they said, can you develop this program? And I said, I don't know, maybe I can. And I was driving home and my son's totem was the wolf. He loved wolves. And I was driving home in this back road, and all of a sudden in the middle of the road, there was this creature, and I had to slam on the brakes. And I thought a dog, and then I looked, no, it wasn't a dog. We have a lot of coyotes around here, and I thought a coyote, but they have a distinctive body shape. And I realized that it was a wolf. And I was totally shocked, and it just stood there and stared at me and didn't seem afraid, didn't whatever. And I thought, maybe this is a message from my son that I should develop this program. So the wolf went on his way, and I thought, how would there be a wolf in the woods of Massachusetts? And many years later, I learned that there was a gentleman who used to adopt wolves in this particular town. I'm not going to tell you the town because they don't want a lot of people going there. In Massachusetts, he adopted wolves. And when he decided, or I guess he had to go to a nursing home or something, but he just let the wolves go. So there's a significant population in and around this town. So for me to see that wolf at that time, whatever. So that's my story about that. Anyway, so I developed this program using some of the tools that Needs already had, applications and stuff, but I modified them. And I built some of my own applications, some of my own applications, some of my own paperwork, et cetera, and designed this program. And we put it all together with a very talented lady helping me named Kathy Foreman, who used to work at Needs. And we graduated our first veteran in 2009. The first CCV, Combats for Canine Veterans team. We called the program Trauma Assistance Dogs Program, or TAD. Okay, next, please. So this is just a commentary from one of our early fellows. I went from fighting on the battlefield to laying in a bed and having people care for me, back to being independent with the dog and doing everything on my own. So this was a young man who got a service dog, and that was what it meant to him. Next slide. If you have questions as we go along, just let me know. So this is the assistance dog program. I began developing in 2007 for PTSD. And I'll talk more, for those of you who are not familiar with PTSD, I'll talk about that in a moment. And I conducted a pilot study, and we ended up having, it was supposed to be a year, but it ended up to be 2 years. We ended up having about 14 or 15 men in the pilot study. And the pilot study was so successful that in 2011, Needs adopted the TAD program. Unfortunately, I will tell you at the end that I'll tell you at the end about when it says 2024. Next slide, please. Again, this is the commentary from a young woman who was married to a man who had PTSD, and just saying that how it affects him, that he feels worthless, like less of a man. And this is kind of what it does. That PTSD is sometimes interchangeable of post-traumatic stress response. So next slide, please. Okay, I mentioned that PTSD has some particular, and for those of you who know a lot about PTSD, forgive me, but it'll be helpful as we go along. PTSD has 3 different components. There's a bunch of symptoms under re-experiencing. There's a bunch of symptoms under avoidance, and then arousal. So the symptoms under re-experiencing are things like flashbacks or nightmares or panic attacks. So kind of the intense physical reactions or phobias. And some of the fellows get fixated and want to talk about war all the time. But it's generally memories and dreams and things that intrude from the past. Next slide. So the avoidance piece of it, they tend to isolate themselves. They don't want to be around anybody else. Almost universally, I still screen veterans for PTSD for another agency. And they'll start talking and it's like I can tick off. Okay, you don't want to go in crowds. You don't trust others. You don't want to talk about it. You've lost interest in things. You're not there for your kids. You're emotionally numb. They're very, very classic symptoms. So that's kind of where the avoidance comes from, sort of pushing everything else out. Next slide. And the last one is arousal. And all of this memories and this causes the system to get thrown off. And so they can't sleep or they can't stay asleep. Anger is a big issue. Irritability, another one. Difficulty concentrating. Hypervigilance or constantly being on the alert is classic. And then being easily startled. The conference room it needs has it backs up against the front door, and the front door has one of those silver squares on it, the plates that you can push to open the door. There's one down here. You can push to open the door, and what they train the dogs to do is jump up and hit the plate with their paws, and that opens the door for the veteran. And we're sitting, it isn't funny, I'm sorry. We're sitting in a conference room, and on the other side of the wall, a dog pushed the thing, and every single veteran jumped out of his chair. I mean, that's how classic it is. So, next slide, please. So when we placed the dogs, we got these kinds of comments back. These are actual comments that they had. He's got my back. Battle buddy. When a veteran is a soldier, sailor, whatever, is in the military, they often have their rifle and they consider that their battle buddy, their protection, their whatever. And outside, they don't necessarily have it, but they begin to think about their dog as their battle buddy. So they can go out places more, feeling less anxious. The dogs help them to get to sleep. I don't know if any of you have a dog, but there's something about having a dog with you, provided it goes to sleep and doesn't jump around, but a well-trained dog, when you're trying to get to sleep, it's very comforting, you know, and it made these guys, it helped them with that. It made them feel less angry, coping with flashbacks. Next slide, please. And then giving them a reason, a purpose. And I certainly understood that from having my little dog after my son died. It gave me a purpose, something to look forward to. And the dog takes attention away from me in public. Actually, that's partially true. We tell the veterans that, but what happens is everybody's attracted to a dog. As a matter of fact, one of the trainers told the guys that the dog is a chick magnet. And everybody kind of goes to, but they go to the dog, not to you. And the veterans want to be invisible, so they don't mind talking about their dog, but they don't want people to be, and it helps to break the ice, etc. We temperament test dogs to be quote unquote unflappable. In other words, a dog who might be startled but will recover very quickly. And this is very helpful because many times the veterans will go out, if they hear a sound, they may fall apart. And if they see that the dog is not freaked by this, it helps them to maintain control. Makes me feel safe. And interestingly enough, many veterans no longer trust people because they've been brutalized by people. And what happens is they learn to trust their dog, and the dog becomes a bridge so that they can eventually learn to trust people. And as I'll say later on, we got many veterans whose relationships were in really bad shape because the veterans, PTSD, and the wives and girlfriends were just at their last, the end of the rope. And we credit ourselves with many repaired relationships and several engagements and marriages, because what it did was help these guys to trust again, and therefore they could give that trust and affection to another person. So next, whoops, back.
Where did it go? Back.
Back, not forward, back.
that back or forward?
No, that's forward. Go back.
Okay, let's see. Oh. Previous. There we go. There we go. I don't know what I
Keep
did.
going.
Okay.
When you see the guy with the dog, you can stop. Next one.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. This was a young man who actually is on his third dog, I think. Actually, no, he's on his second dog and he's applied for his third dog, but that's a whole other story. He just blossomed with this dog. The dog, he was so anxious. And so many of these guys are terribly dependent upon their spouses or their girlfriends or whatever, because they just feel so insecure. And once he depended upon the dog, the girlfriend got to do a lot of things she couldn't do before, which she was thrilled about. So, okay, so let me stop for a minute and talk a little bit about, yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk about it. Oh. Talk a little bit about some of the things that we were looking for and some of the things that we saw. I have all these notes and I can't find them here. Some of the things that we saw here, actually, you can go to screening, which is the next one. Okay. When I was in seminary, one of our professors said, don't write out your sermons because someday a breeze is going to blow them away and you're not going to know where you are. That's true with notes too. So, let me tell you a little bit about what we're looking for in a veteran. We were kind of we didn't know what we wanted in the beginning. We knew that there had to be certain things about veterans that would help them to be successful with a dog. It sounds like having a service dog is, just a piece of cake. It's not true. It takes a great deal of motivation, determination, follow through, trust. You have to learn trust, etc. And not all of these guys were capable of doing that. And it almost seemed like some of them might be in a few years, but they weren't there yet. And then some of them were. So we were looking for somebody who was able to follow through, who was able to concentrate and to work with us. We got, interestingly enough, one of the things we got in quite a few samples was defiance. And our first reaction was, ooh, is that good? But the defiance is often in the form of, make me trust you so this will work. So if you work around that, the defiance kind of goes away, which is kind of interesting. So what we saw initially in some of the handwriting is a downward slant, which was almost universal, which was the depression that they were feeling. A lot of wide spacing, the need for space and difficulty connecting with others, lack of trust. Small writing was kind of classic. Also, interestingly enough, in the beginning for this study, we tended to take Afghanistan and Iraq veterans, so that generationally, many of them were either print or print script. So that made some interesting. I'm not as fond of that as I am of cursive, but oh well. Small writing, which often correlated with poor self-esteem. A lot of compression, the social isolation, fear of expression. Variable baseline, many of them had really variable baselines, which is that, if you look at what's the classic on the street where you live, and their street had been rocky for a long time, so they weren't sure how to navigate that. So they were, uneven margins. A lot of them had far left margins, clinging to the past, not ready to, and large right margins, not ready to go into the future yet, or very large margins. So you had this little script in the middle, like really boxed in. You could also, we also found some impulsivity. Universally, those were things we could or couldn't find. Universally, we found extreme anxiety, which was I should let you say okay, what would you say? What's extreme anxiety? How would you look for that? This is the interactive part.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of interference in moving forward, a lot of like blocks in the circles and
Right.
just moving forward and back.
Patching, perhaps, pressure variations. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I think you can put it for a minute. You can put it on the people screen instead of I'll go back to the thing in a minute. How about low self-esteem? Low self-esteem, what would you look at?
T's?
Hmm?
The T's?
The T's?
Where
Okay, the lower goals, the lower T-bars. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Or the very small writing or the
Right.
Yeah.
Compressed small writing.
Small capitals.
I was just going to say low caps, yeah, or small caps, yeah. How about the lack of self-confidence? This is related, or the self-underestimation. What would you look at?
Also the low T-bars.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I mentioned the defiance, but we discovered it was proved to me that I can trust you. And the lack of consistency or regularity in the interrupted rhythm, just sort of showing the writer's inner turmoil was what we saw in a lot of these folks. Okay. Okay, so let me talk about how we use what we did for screening. So you can put the next slide up if you'd like.
I was on mute, but I was thinking their PPIs would probably be smaller than other caps.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And sometimes you got the rocker too. So. Okay, how did we screen? Well, we used a variety of tools for screening. The interesting, you'll read if you read the article in the book, we aren't always widely accepted as handwriting folks. And so I kind of sneaked this in a bit. The people, my direct team, which was started out with 4 of us, 2 trainers, the client relations person and me, they were very much aware of what I was doing with the handwriting, and the veterans were aware. But they used to say, okay, what does mine say? How do I change? These are the staff members. So we used the handwriting, but we also had an application, and we had a grid of sorts, like 1 to 8 or something. How are you feeling? One of those things, which I'm not sure that worked terribly well, but we had that. We had personal interviews. They were interviewed by me from the mental health perspective, by the client relations person about logistics of what they would do with the dog. And the trainers watched them work a dog. So that's kind of how we screened them. They had to be not actively suicidal. There was a lot of suicidal ideation, which changed drastically once they had the dog, which we'll talk about. But they had to not be actively suicidal. I think we said no suicide attempts for at least a year. They had to not be actively drinking or drugging. They had to be under the care of a therapist and had to continue during our work with them. And we got evaluations from both their doctor, their PCP, and their therapist as well. We also, one of the things that we learned, interestingly enough, I'd love to go back and do another study on the spouses or significant others of these men. And I'll explain why I keep saying men in a minute, but because we found that the being on board on the part of the significant others was extremely important to success. The guys that had no support at home had a much harder time or didn't succeed, where the guys who had, and we started working, I developed 2 manuals, one for the veteran to help him to know how to, when he has a symptom, how he can use the dog to, and it's a lot of kind of mindfulness training, but how he can use the dog to calm down. I also developed another manual for we call it the wives manual, but it's significant others, somebody who's close to him, to help those people understand what the veteran was going through, what they're feeling, and how to help them. And so that was really useful as well. So that was kind of the screening tools that we used. So they came in for an initial interview with the team, the 4 of us, 5 of us, 4 of us. And then we each, we met afterwards and each decided whether this person would be a go or not. And the handwriting factored into it. It was one of the many things that we looked at. So let's look at one of the writings. Next slide. Okay. This 34-year-old male, right-handed. Okay, let me explain the male-female thing. Initially, when we did our study, women process PTSD differently than men. And when we did our study initially, we wanted to stick to men. Because women tend to find other ways to work out PTSD, where men were very receptive to having the dog. Later on, we opened it up to women, and we got very few women. We got one who was a real poster child. She was great. She's in the Air Force. What was she, colonel something, who did a great job. And then in the same class that we screened for her, there were 4 other women, all who flunked the screening. They just were not appropriate for one reason or another. I found that women are more likely to have past trauma. And it's really hard. I mean, there's so many things that go into healing past trauma, like, childhood trauma. So I'm not sure a dog would really, well, I can hear all the arguments, well, dogs got soft and cuddly and none, whatever. But for the program that we were doing, we didn't feel that a dog would work. So, okay, so this is one writing of a 34-year-old male. Comments or reactions to this writing?
He has a downward slant.
He sure does.
Yeah, and his letters can go very small. So yeah, his eyes are pretty large, actually, or his capital eyes, but it's almost an exaggeration compared to the rest. Overcompensation in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe the need for I to be important, for me to be important.
Uh-huh.
With his letter D, does he do the stem first?
Good question. It almost looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does look like it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What would you
Yeah.
make of that?
So that's a kind of awkwardness, isn't it? It's like rebellious almost, fighting against.
Against the grain, kind of.
Yeah,
Against the
yeah.
convention.
It looks
Okay.
like that downward stroke of the D is heavier too. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
emphasize that.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
and
it
he
all-
has the rebel K also.
Yes.
The buckle. Yeah.
Buckle.
When I see those wide supports on the PPI, the top and bottom, I feel they need extra emotional support. That's their way of showing you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I think with the D, maybe he needed to put the support line first.
That could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all the downstrokes are heavy, aren't they? So It's almost like he's putting up
Making a point.
barriers all the way.
Right.
Those the G stroke, the lower stroke of the G, catches my eye quite a bit.
The lower stroke of the what?
Of the G in
The G.
dog, and all of the G's are. It's kind of
Oh yeah, back to the.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the left. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the heavy straight down strokes is kind of also like taking a stand. You know,
Could be.
Determination, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was trying. I think this
Yeah.
person is
Yeah.
trying very hard.
Yeah, I think he was. Okay, can we do the next one? Conscious of time here. Oh, here's another one. What's your kind of gestalt response to this?
Person feeling down.
So again, you have the downward slant.
Downward slant.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a wavy
And
face.
small.
Compressed and yeah.
And the D's are the same. They're stem first, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
This guy
Yeah.
doesn't look like he has quite as much energy.
No.
I have a
No.
question about you're saying downward stroke. I'm not sure what that means. Like you said,
When
this gentleman has a downward stroke.
When you're
like
somebody,
Go ahead.
Do you see
sorry.
the D and the stem of the D as opposed to the circle? That's
Yeah.
well, he's got a slant, but it's a straight down stroke.
Right.
Yeah, when you start at the top and come down to the baseline with your stroke, that's a down stroke, or below the baseline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about a left slant or a right hand slant. You're talking just the D's, the way they come straight down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it all goes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the lines descending, the baseline descending?
No.
That's
No.
that we talked about that too.
Yeah, I think you were talking about the actual stroke on the D. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, can you do the next one, please?
Boy.
Boy.
Wow.
Oh, boy, he's ready.
Moving away from.
Oh.
Well,
That's a left slant, isn't it?
Yeah.
you
Sure
finally
is.
got someone who wrote in cursive.
Yes, yes, yeah,
There's a defiance there, away from, avoiding.
right.
Yes. Yeah.
This guy was really uptight. Does that surprise you?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah.
It's also tight.
It's
also
very
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
he
is.
was very, yeah.
Cynthia, may I ask, looking at these people who have put themselves under so much negative modes from your experiences, are you looking to see who would be nice to a dog or somebody who really, really needs a dog? What is the process that we can see the troubles that you're pointing out here, that they need intervention, but is it I don't know what the process. You take this information and say they need help because they're isolated and withdrawn.
Well, we're also looking at, do they have some positive traits that we could work with? You know, do they, so I'm trying to look at this guy here. No, he doesn't. He's kind of.
Like defiance to be.
Well, the defiance you could work with if there are other things that are favorable, but.
Well, because that shows the strength.
Yeah, and we're looking at follow through. I mean, this guy, you know, he can connect the loops going back to the baseline and stuff.
he has good follow through
Yeah.
and a lot of consistency.
Right. we want somebody who's a little, and it's not a case of being nice to the dog, but while we assess the anger and things of that sort. But somebody who could really benefit, who could work with the dog. You know, unfortunately, it came down to a lot of it was gut.
Mhm.
After we did so many guys, we began to realize what we were looking for. And it's hard to really characterize it. But, you know, as I said, we'll follow through, determination, motivation, those kinds of things. And
there
those are all
anything-
things you'd have to.
Is there anything graphically in the handwriting that would say, no, they can't have a dog? I would think everybody would benefit from having a dog.
Yeah, maybe somebody whose anger strokes were off the wall. That might be a problem.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Somebody who, what else might be? I don't know, if you had so much stubbornness in the handwriting that it was, again, extreme, they may not be receptive to training. I mean, it's hard to pick out one trait. It's more an evaluation of the whole thing.
What was this person selected?
I think all these guys were selected. I shouldn't
Okay.
tell you that, right? I shouldn't.
No, I'm,
Yeah, because I don't know. Did I? Yeah, this guy was, and he worked out pretty well. He was very intense, but surprise, right? The intensity of the handwriting, but
No,
but he
a
worked
person
out.
with this leftward slant, they can also be very dedicated to, you know, whatever they are attracted to. If
Yeah,
it could be
yeah.
one person or one dog or
Right.
but they choose
Mhm,
who
mhm.
they want to be
Right.
connected to.
Okay, next one, please.
Interesting.
Ooh.
This guy's got a, yeah, you tell me, actually. What's your assessment?
32. Wow. Looks very young, doesn't it, for 32?
A lot of them were, yeah, he does. He does. Well, you know, when you have trauma, you frequently stop growing emotionally at the point of your most intense trauma. So, you know, this kid was fairly young when he went into the military. You know, and I think it really,
Yeah.
it really blew him away because he'd had very, you know, kind of sheltered background. And I think he probably stopped there.
yeah, he looks very stagnant.
And not very patient with himself even.
Yeah, with himself. A lot of them weren't patient with themselves, but they could be amazingly patient with the dogs. Which was very
That's
interesting.
great.
Yeah.
I really noticed the extreme variation in the middle zone here in this writing.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Almost
And look
every
at
other letter.
in the middle of the sample, look at wounded. You know, it obviously it was he was
Yeah.
wounded in many ways.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is that defiant K you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've almost got a couple of, well, there's only one. I see when you don't go by one. I was looking at the
This
rocker.
person, I think, would be
Yes.
hard to. He has a hard time hearing others. His mind is so busy with what's going on
Yes.
with himself.
Not really open for, yeah.
No, a dog might be very comforting to him.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next one.
Oh, I forgot it was me.
Okay, I made, let me look at the next one again. We also used it to measure progress, but these particular ones, as I looked back, you can do the next slide.
This one.
Okay, so there's the same guy. Okay, so that's the application. Oh, that's right. This, I remember now. He had some impairment. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Okay.
He might have been ADHD maybe, or there was something going on. I can't remember exactly what it was, but And go to the next slide, please.
Mm.
Okay, so this is him after a year.
Well, he's opened up a bit.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Same man. Wow.
Yeah, he started
Yes.
trusting
He had his dog
himself
for a
more.
year. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think he
still-
started thinking for himself,
Yeah. yeah.
which he wasn't able to do before.
No.
Notice some of the largest things when I was looking at this. Some of the largest things in the writing are soldiers, which is kind of in the middle, which that's obviously important to him. And then Tad is kind of large. That was our program, the fourth line down.
Hmm.
Tad.
Yes.
So that
Mm.
that was important to him too.
Yeah.
Okay, next. I know I'm whipping through these. I'm sorry, but I'm conscious of time. So this was at the application, 30-year-old man. Any comments about him?
Oh, look, there's those
You know, the
D's
thing that
again.
is,
Yeah.
it's good work. It's good line spacing. You know, I mean, he can have clarity of thought,
Uh-huh.
but so
Okay,
tiny.
the next one?
But more space
Oh, sorry.
seems like more
Uh-huh.
breathable than before.
Mm.
Okay, this
But
is interesting. This is the same guy
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
a year later.
Education. Wow.
Let
He
me.
is still filling down, isn't he?
So here, this guy. Is
No,
that?
he's
And then the next one.
wait a minute here.
Hold on.
The
Samples.
next one is you want the next two. That one
Sample
and
7.
then the next one.
Okay. And this. Oop.
There you
Well,
go.
he's
No, I think
lifted
he's a
up.
little more up.
Yeah.
He's a little more
Steady.
not to do this to you, but can you go back again?
Yeah. No. I'm. Oops. Did I do
Okay.
it?
To me, he's although there's one line that
I don't know
goes
what I did.
a lot to the right, but
Okay. Previous. Okay.
there you go.
Look at how his baseline is so variable on this one, and
Mm-hmm.
on the other it's much more steady.
And the next one. Okay, go to the next one again.
Oops, what did
Whoops.
hold on.
As I said, I'm glad it's not me.
There we go.
Oh.
There. It feels like he's been lifted up a bit.
Yeah, yeah. There's that feeling in the writing that there's something lifting up. I'm trying to think who this.
Yeah.
Jane, are you getting that lifting up? Meaning that in the first slide, he was slanting down on the end of his sentences, and now they're straighter. The writing is straight across and not dipping down
Yes.
so much. Okay.
Not
I don't know,
feeling as down.
It's
Right,
almost a
okay.
feeling too, is when you look at the two writings together, it's like you feel lifted more by this one. Although
Yes.
there are
Yes.
there's some issues there, but
Yes.
Yeah, because it's smaller, isn't it? The writing.
yeah, it's smaller. I don't know whether
Mhm.
that's, more concentration or
Maybe
whether
more concentrated. Yeah.
yeah, well, he's, he had to do a lot of concentration with the dog, working with the dog.
Yes.
It's a great tribute to you, Cynthia.
Well,
I think
to all of
even if
us,
you
we
look
were
at,
a
he
team.
says he's with his dog all the time. And the most difficult part is that the service dogs is that all the people are trying to pet him. So that's
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's great.
Okay, do you want to go to I forget what the next one is.
Let's see.
Oh, there was, yeah,
Oops.
okay.
What happened?
Oops. No, back one.
Okay. Hold on. Okay.
Okay, so this I didn't see, I have some that there's more of a difference, but for some reason they were not on here and my scanner's down at the moment, so. But this was an application. So he's kind of pulling away from the past. Well, I don't know. See, when we have, this isn't as pronounced, but when we have a person who starts out strong and then peters out toward the end, we think, yeah, is he going to make it? But can you have the next slide? But he did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
This was a really interesting guy. He was a great guy.
That's kind of
And I think that,
interesting. It's
Hmm?
like uplifting again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Getting things together there, isn't he?
Okay, can I have the next slide? So these are the things that we found of the 14 people. I guess it was 14, not 15. Their flashbacks were improved. 9 of them, 9 of the 14. 14 out of the 14, their anxiety was improved. Irrational
Good.
fears, 9. The
Wow.
isolation, 13 were improved. The crowd anxiety, meaning, going out in crowds, 14 were improved. Relationships,
Good.
14. Next slide. So 10, depression. Sleep issues for 14 was improved. The anger for 9. When I say anger, I'm not talking about people who have anger out of control. They're able to control their anger, but they still have anger issues. So concentration, 8, irritability, 8, and the startle response, 7. So those are kind of the things that improved with the service dog. Oh, okay. And I threw this in because I kept mentioning my son. This was my son who
Oh,
died. And, and
handsome guy.
Oh, yes.
and I realized, as I said in my book, if you're interested in the book, I have a website. It's CynthiaCrossonAuthor.com. I should put that on here.
Yeah.
CynthiaCrossonAuthor.com. And it talks
Okay.
about the book on the website.
He was
But
23, huh?
he was 22 when he died.
Yeah.
22.
Oh,
Not
Gosh,
quite
that's
20.
a terrible loss. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
Cynthia.
it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think I did not realize, other than the wolf episode, when I started this, you can put it back on the people's screen if you'd like.
Next.
I'm so impressed with that wolf part. It's just,
Mm.
it was like a sign. It was like something
Yes.
that's telling you, go for it.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
You can stop sharing,
Oh,
Victor.
people's screen. Oh, sorry.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
so enraptured by this. Oh,
So let me tell you the kind of ending of the story, as it were, since we're going to be ending. This, and hopefully I can do this without being emotional. This program, the Trauma Assistance Dog program, was extremely successful, and other programs started across the country, started copying it, I guess. They did not copy the handwriting, unfortunately. I mean, they did not use the handwriting because we were kind of doing it surreptitiously because the director that came in didn't think we should be doing it, whatever. And now it is international. This was the first
Wow.
program to place specially trained service dogs with veterans with PTSD, and now it is international. And the Assistance Dog International, which is the crediting body for all service dog agencies that place service dogs, actually has standards now that I helped work on the standards committee for the placement of service dogs. And if you see a dog out and they're supposedly a service dog, look for the patch for the agency. If there's no agency patch, the dog was self-trained, and do a wide berth because you don't know how well it was trained. I've had those dogs attack my dog, etc. But these went through some changes, and in the beginning of this year, they got a new director who was not particularly committed to veterans. And they let me go. They let Kathy, the woman who started Needs actually and was very involved with the veterans, they let her go. And they are now really not doing veterans for all intents and purposes. And the sad thing is, some of our veterans, we told them when we placed with them, once your dog, ages out and you still need a dog, we will place another dog with you. And the gentleman who was kneeling with his dog came back for his third dog, and they refused him.
Oh,
And so now he's in bad shape. We're trying to help him. But they basically, placing dogs with veterans with PTSD is hard work. It's very hard work. And this particular administration now. I don't think they want to do that kind of hard work. So they're phasing out the program basically. But the good news from that is that the program has spread across the world, and there are lots of other agencies doing it, the work. So I'm very thankful for that they are. I just wish they were doing the handwriting aspect of it, but they're not. So
It's a
any
beautiful
questions?
mix.
Yes. Yeah. Any
Cynthia,
It really
questions?
is.
Cynthia, I have a question for someone who's not, doesn't have access to an agency like that, or they're not going to take them on. Do you think there's benefit for them to try to take on their own dog? Or do they really need specialized training for
They
the
really
dog?
need, the dogs need 24/7 training basically to be a dog for PTSD, because the dogs for PTSD really have to be the cream of the crop, the in control dogs that aren't going to let the veteran get out of, or aren't going to freak when the veteran gets out of control. I tried my service dog for ministry, who was an absolute delight. He's in the picture. I don't know whether you used that picture that I did that I sent
yeah.
you, Victor. He's in that picture. He died of old age in 2020. And I went back to Needs and I said, I need another dog. I loved having him in my ministry. And they said, we're not placing right now. It's 2020. It's COVID. So they said to me, find a dog, temperament test it. In other words, make sure that the dog has the right qualities, and we will give you, hook you up with a trainer that you can train your own dog. Now, I've been doing this work for 20 some years, and I trained dogs as a kid, etc. This dog is a delight. He's an absolute delight, but he is not as well trained as a service dog, and I have worked very hard with him. And his temperament is perfect. It's almost better than my first dogs. So even somebody who knows what they're doing, I don't think trains a dog as well as an agency does. And there, when you say somebody who's not near an agency, they're a wonderful agency. There's America's Vet Dogs in Long Island, goes all over the country. Wonderful agency. That's who I now screen dogs for. Canines for Canine Companions for Independence, CCI, is a wonderful agency. There are some really good agencies. If you wonder about an agency, go on the website, Assistance Dogs International, and figure out if that agency is accredited by ADI. And if it is, it's going to be a better agency. So,
I had a question, Cynthia,
yes.
about are there certain breeds that were more suitable as a service dog for these veterans than others? You
Yes.
mentioned
Well,
a little bit about that, but
yeah, Needs uses Labrador retrievers, and they still
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The dog needs to be a pretty steady personality dog. Like my dogs for ministry were both, well, the one I have now and the one I had that was trained are both Shih Tzus. And Shih Tzus are unusual for small dogs because they almost have the personality of a big dog. They're very steady, and that's what a dog needs to be for that kind of work. So
My mom had a Shih Tzu dog, and my dad had Alzheimer's, and it got really pretty bad. He got lost in the city, and they had to put him in a nursing home. But that dog was so wonderful for my mother.
really,
It was her companion. She was so comforted by that dog.
yes, they can be incredibly comfortable. Mine knows what I'm going to do before I do it, which is uncanny.
Yes. Yeah. That's great.
Listen, someone's got some feedback.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Can you see
feedback
who
is.
it is? I think I found it. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, this is just so, we're so appreciative, Cynthia. This is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Well, thank you.
You could work that out.
Yes.
And you've done this for how many, like 20 people or 50 people, or how many people?
There were 40 some veterans through needs that we trained. And then
Wonderful. Thank you so
America's
much.
Vet Dogs is continuing to do veterans.
Such
Thank you so
beautiful
much.
work. Thank you, Cynthia,
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
much.
Cynthia,
Really is.
Cynthia, what is your opinion on horse therapy for veterans? Because I got certified to work with special populations and horses,
Oh,
and I only did it with one PTSD, but he really responded.
yes. I think horses are wonderful. You know, equine therapy with veterans is excellent. I mean, it's not like
Okay.
dogs, but
No, I know.
it's very good for calming them. And I had a horse when I was growing up, and if I got angry at my parents or something, I'd go out in the barn and sit with the horse, and I felt much better.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, I think horses are great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Horses and dogs together are really good.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, a dog can live with you in your house,
The dog what?
can live with you all the
Yes,
time.
that's true.
Better
Horses
than
might-
a horse.
Might be kind of tough in the house. Yeah.
You can live with a horse all the time if you wanted.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Cynthia.
if
It's
you-
so amazing.
Yeah, if anybody knows any agencies, I also have been consulting to agencies that are trying to sort of develop things like this. And if anybody knows an agency that's trying to, I'm very glad to consult to people. So,
Very good.
Mm.
You have a wealth of information there.
well, thank you.
Cynthia,
Thank you
let
for
me,
You're a
sharing it
wonderful
with us.
audience.
Cynthia, let me put your website in the chat so people
Okay.
can see that. Tell me that again exactly.
It's Cynthia, Cynthia,
Okay.
Crosson, Crosson,
Okay.
S is in Sam, author.
A-U-R-T. Let's see. Arthur.
AUTH.
H-O-R.
.com.
.com. Okay. So there we go. Cynthia Crosson author.com. So you can find about her book, and I think that you had other books and stuff there.
I do.
too.
I actually, I should do a plug. I'm writing, I just turned into the publisher a book for children, older children, about how service dogs are trained in prisons.
Ah.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have two other books for kids. One is for young kids called Only Daddy's Dog, and explaining PTSD and service dogs to young children. And then I have another one called Sonny and Malcolm, and that's for a little older, like tween age. And that's two kids that help a parent get a service dog, and it's the process of how one gets the service dog.
Mm.
Oh,
So,
very good.
Wow. Mm. Very good.
Do your books get into schools?
Thanks, Renee.
I'd like them to.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would
yeah.
be excellent.
I've had a couple of people around here buy the book and donate it to a school. And that, that
Very
way.
good. We have a lot of our schools service the JBLM community with Air Force and Army base that's close by here
Ah.
in near Olympia.
Oh, okay. Washington? Is
Yes.
that Washington? Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. Yeah, I've been trying to appeal to, to veterans agencies and people that might be interested in especially the You Cannot Cage the Wolf, because it's really, if you read it, it's a story of healing. It's a story how I healed from my son's death. There's an organization called TAPS. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically for loved ones who've lost someone in the military. And I offered the book to them, sent them a free copy, and never got too far with them. But that's, I've been trying to sort of reach people who might need such a book.
That's just great.
Mm.
Do you go to the Army bases or the Air Force bases? You know, they maybe their ministers would appreciate knowing
the
about those
chocolates.
books.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bases themselves, I do go to veterans organizations, and I'm always willing to speak to veterans organizations. The bases themselves, they're right in the thick of it at that point, and
Oh.
they probably don't want to hear about,
Oh, yeah.
coming out with injuries or whatever. But the veterans organizations have been very supportive.
I bet.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. Because suicide
Great
is a
work,
big,
Cynthia.
thank you.
Tell you-
Suicide is a big issue for veterans, and we found the reduction of suicide with the dogs because they didn't know who would take care of the dog if anything happened to them.
That's right. That's a point.
Do you know
Very
whether or
good.
not the suicide rate among the veterans, it used to be 22 a day. Is it
Yes.
much lower
yes.
now?
It goes up and down. It went to 17 and now I think it's back up again.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Okay.
I think
thank you.
I think I want to take about 2 or 3 hours with you.
Anytime.
So fascinating.
Especially if I can come to England to see it.
Oh yes, yes. Indeed.
Okay.
So yeah, we're
Thank you.
we're about at the top of the hour. I won't say what time. It's wonderful.
Okay.
Next month,
Mm.
I'll just let you all know,
No, Harvey, just a minute.
is on my essay about Gestalt psychology and its relationship to graphology. And
Good.
since then, I forget exactly the date, but since then, since I wrote that a few years ago, I've actually found a really solid history of Gestalt graphology in
Wow.
the German Gestalt graphology that I've been really digging into. Haven't really completed the book, but I know a lot more than when I wrote this essay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called, let me tell you, the Gestalt Psychology in German Culture, 1890 to 1967.
Wow.
So it's actually, this
Wow.
this guy's began with his dissertation. It's very solid history of psychology. It's quite amazing. I feel very intelligent when I read something like this.
Good.
Mm.
So I feel like what I wrote wasn't very intelligent. It was just kind of like a very surface thing, just to let you know. But we can talk about it.
I think one always feels that way
Yeah.
after one writes.
Because it's kind of we hear the word Gestalt graphology, and we hear the word Gestalt. And in fact, when I was studying psychology, there was this Gestalt therapy. And I was finding out Gestalt therapy was just kind of a label that was slapped onto something. It wasn't directly connected with Gestalt psychology. It's interesting, So just because you have the names doesn't mean it's actually part of the history of a particular practice, which is what I find out whenever I read this. Anyway, we can
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
history and philosophy of psychology. If you like that, or
Thank you, Victor.
whatever.
Thank
The
you,
interesting
Victor.
part about it is that I see that the questions around form, the Gestalt, the Gestalt psychologists, their principle of form quality, and the graphologist's idea of form level. And all of these questions in the graphologists have about form level, I think really it goes back to understanding what the Gestalt psychologists are talking about with form and form quality. So that's as a kind of a topic area, that thing, there's always this discussion going on about what is form level, I think.
Well,
It'll be
Cynthia
interesting.
Cynthia was in top form today.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this was just
Thank you.
exhilarating what you
Yeah,
do.
I'm sorry I haven't been
Oh, no,
more
no, no, you can't
a
come
more
on.
frequent
Good boy, good boy, good boy. No,
listener to the
Right.
to this
Okay.
program,
We
because
can
I
now do
have a
that.
disabled son and he has multiple
Good boy.
medical issues, so I'm often out during the day. So
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
There,
Well,
I-
thank
I've
you.
been-
Thank you
I've been trying to
for
get.
being here today.
Oh, sorry. I've been trying to get the
you.
recordings up, so to make them available. So if you're missing one of these, you can go back.
Oh, good,
I
good.
know,
Okay.
Harvey.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so
All right.
with Judy's helpful reminders, I'll try to keep up with that.
Yeah, you've been doing a wonderful job, Judy. Ugh.
Yes.
Oh.
I'll
Thank you.
say.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye-bye then. Thank you,
Everyone.
Thank
Cynthia. Very interesting.
Take care.
Really
I'll
lovely.
close
Thank
out.
you.
Bye,
Thanks for the
Sarah.
meeting. Bye. Hi, Ruth.
Mhm.